Hello, my name is Jeremy. I'm the founder of LATT SEO, and I work with e-commerce brands to help them generate more sales from their website through organic search or SEO. What I'm doing in this video is looking at Shopify from an SEO perspective to see if there are any ways they can improve their site to help them generate more sales through search, specifically organic search. Now, the first thing to look at is this tool here called Ahrefs, and the two data points I like to look at initially from a high level view are referring domains, and a referring domain is a unique instance of a different website on the internet linking to them. And the reason we look at these is because Google views referring domains or links from other websites as votes of confidence or trust signals. When a trusted site links to you, Google sees that and associates your site accordingly. Secondly, if we look at DR, DR stands for domain rating, and it's on a 0 to 100 scale, and essentially lets us know how strong or how authoritative your site is, and also how competitive a keyword or phrase is likely to be to rank for based on the site's ranking for that same keyword. I'll explain more about that in a second here. Now, the other thing to look at is the chart here, which shows in blue referring domains, and the orange line here is average organic traffic. Generally speaking, as you get more referring domains, your traffic should increase. Now, if there is a case like this here where traffic went from an average of 57,000 down to 19,000, probably some kind of algorithmic hit or algorithmic update, unless there was something that happened on the website. So that being said, there's something else going on here, potentially a recovery needed from an algorithm update, like I said. But in general, if referring domains go up this drastically and traffic is continuing to downtrend, there's something else going on that should be looked at. But that's not the point of this video. I want to just do a quick audit on their site from a keyword perspective to see what else is going on. So if we look at their keywords, a couple things going on here that we can see and start to get an idea as to what can be done from that perspective to help them. First thing to look at here is just a general keyword chart for this site here. And right now I have this sorted by search volume per month, and we have 18,290 different keywords that they're ranking for in Google. And some of these probably don't make much sense to focus on from a competitive standpoint. And they're just too broad, too competitive, and it would not likely make sense from an ROI perspective for them. But if we start to scroll down here a little bit, we see men's dress shoes. 21,000 people search this every month. They're ranked number 69. And if they were to rank on page one or toward the top of page one, they would capture many of these searches here, or at least a bigger portion than they are, which currently is 0. So opportunity here, and it's not a branded search. And the reason we're looking at this from a general or category, there we go, perspective is because if we're searching for or planning to optimize for something like Birkenstock clogs or Puma shoes, it's going to be much more difficult for a website that is a third party, not associated with that brand, to rank for a brand type search. So something like men's dress shoes is just a category where we can optimize for and rank more easily than for a branded type search. Now, other thing to look at then is men's dress shoes, 21,000 searches per month. If we look at the actual keyword itself and we view all keywords associated with this, there's actually 3,234 keywords associated with men's dress shoes. 129,000 searches per month in total estimated search volume for this key phrase and related key phrases. So we have things like men's dress shoes, of course, then we have men's casual, men's black, brown, best, men's dress shoes, white. So different colors, different styles, comfortable. I think you're kind of starting to get the idea here. There are so many different opportunities and different categories we could build content for, or build product segments within the website or collections, if you will, or categories, to make it easier for this site to rank in Google, and then make it easier for customers to find us based on those keywords and phrases as well. Now, next thing to look at then would be a couple data points for the other competing websites for this search to get an idea as to whether or not it actually makes sense to focus on this key phrase. So what you're looking at here are the search results for this key phrase, and specifically the top 10 ranking sites, and then some additional ones as well, including where Shopify is ranked. Now, I mentioned DR as a metric to determine competitiveness for a keyword. If we look at DR column here, the DR column, we have Johnston Murphy, DR 60, Florsheim 52, 65, 43, I won't read all these brands. So 65, 43, 42, 86, 74, 74, 86, 79. and Chewbacca is at 61. So what this tells me is Chewbacca is actually higher than the number 1 and number 2 websites from a DR perspective. So what else is going on here? A couple things to look at would be amount of content. So Chewbacca, in this tool here, it says they have 527 words of content, and number 1 ranking site has over 1,600. So that is a potential gap, but we'll look more specifically into the content here in a minute. And then the next thing is backlinks. So if we look at domains, I mentioned earlier that Google looks at referring domains right here. This is looked at not only on the domain basis or the website homepage, it's on a page-by-page basis as well. So as we dig into this chart here, you can see that the number 1 ranking site has 46 other websites linking to it. And the number 2 site, 27, 25, then it drops off a little bit. But Chewbacca only has 5. So the other way to look at this is there are only 5 other websites on the entire internet voting to Google that Chewbacca should rank for men's dress shoes, whereas the number 1 site has 46, 27, 25 for the top 3. So big opportunity gap there from a linking perspective, because Google views links, like I said, as votes of confidence, which helps directly improve rankings when it's done correctly. So what else is done, or what else could be done, is let's look at some of the content on their site and then do an audit from a content perspective to see how else this page can be improved. Now, the other quick caveat here is you can have the best content on your site, and if your domain is not in the ballpark in terms of authoritativeness, it's going to be much more difficult to rank if you don't have any links to your site. That doesn't mean it can't happen, but it's just generally going to be more difficult if you don't have any strength or authority to your site. So if we look at this page here, which is their men's dress shoes collection page, this is the H1 at the top here. Then we have the products listed here, and then we have a little bit of content down here at the bottom, which is good. We almost always recommend having some content, especially on collections pages. And a couple just quick items here to look at would be to style this a little bit differently and improve the optimization using some H tags. So make this an H2 or use a similar keyword to capture additional traffic, like I mentioned with some of the other types of shoes or other styles of shoes. So to dig into this one step further, I like to use a tool here called Surfer. And what Surfer SEO allows us to do is we put the key phrase in here that we want to rank for, and then we add in the URL for the site that we're intending to optimize for this keyword. And what this tells us, or gives us, is an average of the top 5 ranking sites for this key phrase, and lets us know an expected range for a number of different optimization factors from a content perspective to help us determine what should be done and what Google is expecting based on the top 5 ranking sites. So first of all, to look at the content density. If we look here, it shows men's dress shoes. It says Chewbacca has men's dress shoes on the page twice, and the expected range is 3 to 14 times. So adding that key phrase in there more would get them into the expected range and potentially make it easier for them to rank for the keyword they want to rank for. So some of these don't make sense, like men's dress or patent leather don't really make much sense to optimize for. But this is all AI based. So taking these things with a grain of salt and using some critical thinking as you're looking through this data really helps make a decision as to what should be done. Next thing to look at, add 1 to 12 exact keywords embodied, just like I mentioned here. And some of these other things too, again, looks like Alan Edmonds is skewing this data set in a great fashion here. We have 13 compared to 1 or 2. And the number 1 and number 2 ranking sites supposedly have 0. Now, what I have seen before is when you have a key phrase with an apostrophe in it, so men's, sometimes they have men's without the apostrophe. Google is still intelligent enough to understand that it's talking about men's dress shoes, even without the apostrophe there. So something to think about if you're running this search and using a key phrase like that. Now, other thing to look at would be the H elements, like I mentioned in the content. Again, this is skewing the data set significantly here, but having just 2 H2 to H6 elements can sometimes make it more difficult for Google to best associate the content and the structure of the content on the site. And then increasing the length of the title, they actually have between 55 and 70 characters you can use within the title itself on the page, and they're only utilizing 29 because the title is just men's dress shoes - Chewbacca. So adding in other additional key phrases that are related to that can again make it easier not only to rank for the keyword itself, but also the associated keywords you have in the title. And then same thing with description. Looking at the description here, it looks like they have either don't have a description set or something else is going on. So not sure if this is an issue with their site, how it's set up in Shopify, or something else, but no description is shown for this key phrase or for this page, and that is something that should absolutely be fixed to likely help them improve their rankings. And that is basically it, just a quick audit for Shubaka, looking at a couple different data points and seeing how they can improve their site. And that's it. Hopefully this was valuable to you in general, and I'll see you on the next one.